Have you ever struggled making a decision? Maybe a small decision, a big decision, and you find yourself just kind of being paralyzed by the fact that you've overanalyzed this decision galore, and now you're like, I don't even know what to do. If so, this episode is for you. I'm Angela Barnard, and this is the Intentional Mind Podcast. We're all about helping you intentionally design your life. And today I really wanted to touch on this concept of making decisions. Because lately I've been struggling with just making decisions very quickly. I've just been overanalyzing. And I've had to remind myself of some things that have helped me overcome this in the past. And I was like, hey, this may be helpful to you. So I just wanted to share it with you. So let's get on with the show. All right, so before we go into my wisdom around making decisions, let's talk about analysis paralysis or paralysis by analysis. I'm sure you've heard that. So in a nutshell, what this means is, I'm going to read off a description of this on Wikipedia. Real fancy over here. So it describes an individual or a group process when overanalyzing or overthinking a situation can cause forward motion or decision making to become paralyzed, meaning that no solution or course of action is decided upon. A situation may be deemed too complicated and a decision is never made due to the fear that a potentially larger problem may arise. So, I don't know about you, but I know that I have definitely struggled with paralysis by analysis. When it comes to not even just big things like, pursuing a job opportunity or a move or enrolling myself in a course or something like that, but like even simple things like what to order on a menu. And I just get paralyzed, and the waitress, comes over and I'm like, they come to me and I'm like, I don't know, go to them because I've been sitting here overanalyzing galore the menu. You know what I mean? So I want to start with the small thing first, and then we're going to build our way up, because my wisdom around making decisions easily, quickly, it's the same wisdom for the little thing as it is for the big thing. So hear me out. So times when I've struggled even just ordering off a menu, I've had to go back to reminding myself of my vision and my values. And I think that this serves us all when it comes to making decisions. Ask yourself, does this thing, like if I did this, if I ordered this thing off the menu, does that bring me closer to who I want to be? Is it a vote for who I want to be? So that has to do with your own vision and what kind of person you want to be. This kind of goes back to your identity-based goals. And if you don't have identity-based goals, I recommend you get yourself some. So I'm going to be offering some more different group coaching opportunities, so it can be a lot more affordable to people, different courses. And I love teaching around that. But I would be happy to do a one-on-one session with someone if you really want to get yourself some goals if you don't have them. But in a nutshell, so we're going back to our goals and our vision and our values. So example would be, I'm trying to figure out what to order. And let's say there's all these fried food. And in the moment, I'm like, ooh, that sounds delicious. Yeah, I'm going to get that. But oh, wait, should I get that? Or should I get the salad? Or should I get the thing that has the variety of multiple things in it? Should I get a bunch of little side dishes? What should I do? Have you ever had this happen? This has happened to me. So anyways, I go back to my vision. So it's right now, when it comes to my health-related goals, what kind of person do I want to be? And I have been all about identifying more as a plant-based eater, being someone who eats food that really fuels me in my body, that nourishes it. So if I know that that's the kind of person I want to be, it pretty much narrows down a certain portion of the menu. And then if I think about some other of my values, one of my values is variety. I love variety. So if I can look at the menu and I can see that maybe I can honor some of my values and my vision, then it makes it easier to make that decision. So it also, if I value health, which one is going to honor that more? So that's how we can make decisions that sometimes feel complicated a lot more easier. So now we're going to move on to a bigger topic. like a job. When I'm career coaching people and I'm really helping them transition into doing work that they love, I first and foremost make sure that they're clear on their values and who they want to be. Like, what kind of work do they want to do? How do they want to contribute? What does the environment look like? Getting that clarity and stuff first, I think, is so important because it makes the decision process easier. Because at the end of the day, the end result that you're aiming for, the destination is not necessarily to get the job that you love, if you think about it that way. It's more about honoring your values, using your gifts in ways that feel good to you. So you decide that first. And then from there, you decide what path is going to take you there. All right. So let's say a job. Recently, my husband got offered a job to live in a different country. And, years ago, maybe even just a couple years ago, we would have been really excited about this opportunity. Actually, we were excited when we first heard about it because back then it was more in alignment with our vision at that time where we wanted to live abroad. We thought about that, pondered that idea. Now, our vision has kind of transformed. And so he was struggling, kind of making the decision around this, and me too, because we're like, well, this could be really fun and all of that. But then we went back. He's like, well, what do you think we should do? We're zoomed in and came back to our vision and our values. I'm like, let's look. So I literally looking at his vision board, looking at my vision board, and I was like, well, let's see, like, would this bring us closer to any of our visions? And we looked at his stuff, and there was so much stuff where we're like, no, that'll actually make it harder for that thing to become a reality or for you to be that person. And we looked at mine. It's like, yep, that would make it harder too. And yeah. So basically not in alignment with the vision in so many ways. And then we went back to our values. And, value, like right now, our family has been a big value of ours, like spending quality time with family. And we've been trying to make our schedule work out in the way that we can really honor that value more because we've always lived, since we've been married, away from our family. So, would this help with that? And it's like, no, that's definitely not in alignment with that value. So I like to score this, and this helps. Like if I value this at a 10, where would this decision be on that scale as far as honoring the value? Would it honor in the way of a 1, 2, or an 8? And literally for this one, it would be like a 1. Because the area that we'd be living in, it's really hard to come visit because it's kind of pricey to fly into and fly out of. So it actually would probably reduce the amount of time we're flying to see family as well. Now, sometimes it gets even like, it sounds like this would be like a no-brainer decision, but it wasn't. Like initially we were like, oh, what should we do? Should we try to sell our house? Like, should we prepare for this? And then it's like, whoa, go back to the vision and the values. But sometimes it's not as easy as this one, where it's really clear that it's not honoring the vision at all. It's not really honoring most of our values, besides maybe like the adventure fun part. But the rest of them were low enough to like the cons outweigh the pro kind of situation. Sometimes though, it gets a little bit more difficult where it's like it does in this way, honors these values, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe not these ones, and maybe it's like a more even playing ground. And that's where I really want you to start putting numbers next to things. And even then just ask yourself, at this point in my life, I know this is something that I really value, but how important is it to me at this point in my life? Is it at a 10? And just start comparing those numbers of how important it is and how is this decision honoring it. Sometimes you need to go to that level. So an example might be, I've always valued spending quality time with my family, but in the past, few years of my marriage, I've lived farther away. And some would say, so I haven't been as honoring that value as high, but it was because all of the other values were being honored a lot more. And that's why I made that decision. And that one was a little bit lower for that time period in my life. Now, if you're struggling figuring out what you even want to pursue, and maybe you're not dealing with like multiple options in front of your face, but you're like, should I pursue this? Should I create this? Should I do that? Like that kind of thing. I want you to go back to not only what would honor your values more and your vision, but also thinking about what excites you more. Looking into those feelings, because there's something that is exciting you more out of the options that you might have in your mind. And I would say start with that one. Also, notice if you've been getting any signs like related towards what you should be doing. Like someone might be asking you more about something, or you start seeing some evidence of that thing you've been thinking about more than you have in the past. I just find that sometimes that can be clues on the direction that we should take. I hope that this process helps you with just thinking about your vision and your values. And this means that you got to get clear on what kind of person do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What environment do you want to have? What do you want it to look like? How do you want to give your gifts away? Like, how do you want to make a contribution? I mean, we're all contributing in some way to other people's lives, in some way. And that's what gives us purpose and meaning. So what do you want that to look like? Your environment. And then try to make decisions that align up with you being that person. They're like votes that you're taking to be that person. This is really what it means to live an intentional life, is to align your habits with your vision. All right, so I know that I say this often in the podcast, lining your habits up with your vision, being the person you want to be, but what does that look like? So I want to break that down a little bit. And this makes it so it's easier for you to make decisions when you're clear on the vision. You're clear about who it is you want to be. This is why, guys, in my courses, like my Commit to Your Vision accountability group that starts again at the end of April. If you're interested in being in that group, let me know. We only have a few more spots left. So anyways, in that group, we get super clear about your identity-based goals. And the reason why I say identity-based goals is because this is really the vision piece of it. It's like, here's an example. Let's say that I'm looking for a new job, but when it comes to my values and like my vision of the kind of mom I want to be, like I want to be a mom who gets to be really invested in my kid's life and who gets to do work that I'm excited about because I want my kid to know that like I enjoy my life, but I also want them to know I value them, so I want to be around, right? Let's just say this is the vision that I have. That means when I'm making decisions about the kind of opportunities I pursue, I want to make sure that they help me be more of that kind of mom that I want to be. The one that enjoys their work, but that also is invested in their kid's life. So you see that? So this is where an identity-based goal comes in. And then another example would be like, let's say you have a health-related goal and you want to be someone who has a lean and toned body and who feels confident in their clothes. That's the kind of person that you want to be. So when you're making a decision about where you're going to go out to eat or what you're going to have to eat or what kind of exercise you're going to do, it makes that decision a lot easier, right? Because you're clear about the identity that you want to have. That's the kind of work that I do with people, is getting them clear on the kind of person they want to be. Then I want to make sure that your habits and your decisions line up with that, because too many of us are living out of alignment with who we say we want to be. And I don't know if you guys can hear, my cat is purring like crazy. He loves podcasts. Anyways, we constantly need to be reminded of our vision. Just like earlier when I told you the story about this job opportunity for my husband, we had to go back to our vision. And that's why I feel like having a vision is so important. Having those identity-based goals, knowing who you want to be, the kind of person, because it's too easy to get drifted away from that and start to be on this path that you later find yourself not wanting to be on. That's why the number one regret of the dying, I didn't live a life true to myself, because you got on a path that wasn't your path, And we need to remember what is ours, because there's going to be constant things that will be trying to pull us away from who we want to be. Whether that's a boss or your friends or people that are coming from even sometimes, a really good place. But we got to come back to our vision. What's in alignment with our vision? And even earlier, I was talking to one of my friends. I wanted him to join me on this opportunity. And I admired him so much because he was basically like, this is my vision, and this would take me away from my vision. Like if I did that thing with you, that would take me away. And I'm like, yeah, like that's awesome that you're thinking that way, because you only have a limited amount of time every day. You need to be intentional about what you're doing with it. You need to be intentional about the choices that you make. So Anyways, off my rant here. If you want to join the Commit to Your Vision accountability group, email me, let me know. That'll be the easiest way. I miss messages all the time when people try to message me on social media. Forgive me. But the best way is to just directly email me, which is at angembarnard@gmail.com. It's my little Gmail account, and I'm pretty loyal to it. Okay? All right. So I hope you have an awesome week. I will talk to you soon. Bye.